Welcome to Day 3 of the FENS Forum 24 podcast. This is Thursday, the 27th of June. I was walking through the entrance hall this morning of the Messe Wien Conference Centre, and I could see lines of sleepy poster people queuing for coffee from one of the various mobile coffee vendors. It's very tiring work explaining your posters to an endless crowd of interested passers-by for hours on end. But some of them, it struck me, were a little bit more sleepy than they might be on account of a famous forum event known as Jump the Fence, and we're going to hear a little bit more about that in a moment. First, I'm coming to Marta Solano, who's a cognitive neuroscience researcher and now a researcher in development at Beringham, and Dov Glikman, her colleague, who's a student at the University of Vienna and the Centre for Brain Research. They are both involved in running the Host Society Student Committee, and I asked them about the work of that committee.
I think the main objective is to kind of create a safe space or a bridge between senior researchers and students that are coming to FENS for the first time. So to make it an easygoing experience, and therefore we organized a series of activities to make that an easy and a nice experience. We have like the student buddy system, where we got students together in a random way somehow, that they can like tag along to each other, they can go to a organized event with each other. And for example, we also had student speaker lunches, where 5 students, though organized most of this, he can tell you more, but 5 students sat with senior researchers and were able to ask freely anything they wanted to these people during a nice breakfast. So this is a little bit of a taste of what we've organized.
So I think the Student Host Society is mostly about creating an environment that doesn't feel like being surrounded by 7,000 people, but being able to communicate on a more intimate level. So as Marta said, we organized the student speaker lunches for the students to get away from this big amount of impressions that they get every moment, to be able to interact with the people that they are interested in talking to, and not having to crouch in between all these 7,000 people trying to get to speak to the plenary lecturer right after the talk. And I guess it's just building up the programs that we wish to have as students ourselves.
That's a really nice way of looking at it. What would I like if this was being organised for me? Have there been any surprises for you? You know, when you said, okay, we'll be on this committee, has the actual work surprised you in any way?
Definitely, like it has been so much of a fun experience. I thought it would be more stressful, but it has been really chill in the sense that, I mean, I'm chair, but actually Doe and the rest of the team did most of the work, in that like we were such a good, hardworking team all together that it has been really relaxed. And also surprises, I don't know, like maybe interaction with the speakers, right? You were telling me some anecdotes yesterday.
Personally, I think it was the surprising part, or maybe the fun part about it, is as a first-time FENS goer, is to hear about the experiences that other people had before, and also everyone is chipping in with their ideas, and it's this incredible dynamic team behind all of it. An experience at the speaker lunches is that we thought beforehand what to do, what should we expect from the speakers, but also from the students to come, right? Obviously, speaking to someone a bit more senior in your field is kind of a stress factor. So Anna had this wonderful idea and work done of preparing small conversation cards for the students to be able to use during and throughout all these talks. Because, you know, you go there as a student who's maybe at the early stages of their PhD, late masters, whatever, around these times, and you get to speak to, like, I don't know, today we'll have Lisa Feldman-Barrett there. And we had this wonderful, very, very sweet group of students coming, and they were so shy and sitting there and just waiting for the speaker to come, and then they were allocated to Si-Hun Choi, a very impressive man just by the way he appears. And obviously, it took a while until they got in it, and I saw that they started playing out these cards. And it was these small things that you see around. And I'm incredibly grateful for this opportunity to be able to put this out there and give this opportunity to others who are at this forum to be together.
I'm not suggesting that you're betraying any of this by the way you look or the expressions on your faces this morning, but I know you went to the Jump the Fence party last night. What can you tell me about it?
I can tell you is that thank God Doe was at my doorstep this morning at 8:15 with a huge cup of coffee to go to the plenary lecture, because otherwise I wouldn't have made it. It was incredible. I mean, I was at the Paris Jump the Fence 2 years ago, and I have to definitely say, not because we organized this in Vienna, it was so much cooler. Like, the venue was really big. There was 3 different rooms with different types of music. The vibe was really nice. We also got like 2 drinks and a lot of food. That was also great, that you got constant food passing by. It was like really a nice experience. It was very well organized, also very close to the venue. So people just had time to finish it here at the conference, have some dinner and directly go to the party. We got a little bit of fun in organizing the playlist also. So, yeah.
I guess the calmness you're talking about is us being tired after like 3 to 4 hours of sleep. But honestly speaking, it was a great time being there. It was really fun. I mean, it's going out for a night, right? I don't think there's anything harmful about this. And it's just incredible to see all the people who are here the whole day listening to any kind of symposium and like going around with all their thoughts and motivation, and then just letting it all out in actually bodily movement, and not only like your brain being active the whole time thinking about everything, but you just let it be. And it was beautiful to see.
Thank you both very much for talking to me. It's been a pleasure to meet you.
Likewise, absolutely.
Marta Solano and Dove Glikman there. The FENS Forum is a great opportunity for people to give out prizes and sometimes to invite prize winners to give lectures. And one such is Dr. Marta Pennuto. She's a molecular biologist working in Italy as a neuroscience researcher. She studies disease mechanisms and tries to develop new clinical applications. And after congratulating her, I asked her about her award.
So this is a Chica and Heinz Schaller award, and this award is given for translational neuroscience, which means that is research that is applied to the clinics.
And can you tell us anything about the foundation that gives this award and why they exist?
Yeah, they basically were pioneers of molecular biology, and their work was really important for understanding how the molecular biology of gene expression and for DNA cloning and also for cracking the genetic code. They were really pioneer of the molecular neuroscience. So they founded this foundation basically where they award the research that has an application in the clinics.
What does the award actually consist of?
It is a recognition for the career, for the achievements, and is a prize, so it's a personal prize. But what is important, in my opinion, is the incredible recognition for our achievements. It's encouraging our to keep going with our research, no matter what, because we are reaching some results. We are finding things that are opening new research directions, avenues, and by doing this, we were recognized. So we are really honored about this award. But also is very encouraging. Is a one life achievement. So.
Now you were invited here to receive your award and also to give a lecture along with another colleague. What did you talk about in your lecture?
Yeah, I gave an overview of what we have been doing for 2 decades. So I just gave a flavor of the major achievements that we obtained. How we started from very simple, broad questions, but taking a very simple approach. We started by looking at the protein of interest, the gene of interest, and we started to put pieces together like in a puzzle. And step by step, we found really small pieces of this puzzle which we put together, and we found that we build up the really the picture, and based on these results, I showed that we brought to the clinic a few medications that we previously tested in cells and in models of the disease.
So the work is over now. Do you have time to enjoy the rest of the FENS Forum?
Definitely, I am visiting posters, lectures, and exhibitors, and I have to say that it's an amazing meeting. And the organization is amazing because I have to say is becoming a big neuroscience meeting for Europe. So I think I have seen the FENS growing up over the years, and now we reached a level that is really fantastic.
Dr. Marta Pennuto, a Chica and Heinz Schaller Foundation Award lecturer. Staying with award winners now, Professor Mootaz Salman is a researcher in Oxford, UK, and the very first winner of the ALBA-Roche Award. I talked to him via Zoom shortly before the start of the forum to congratulate him and to ask him to explain the award's significance.
Thank you so much. First of all, I'm absolutely excited. The inaugural ALBA-Roche Research Prize for Excellence in Neuroscience is normally given to the recognition of exceptional contribution to neuroscience research and innovation. Now, being supported by Roche and presented by the ALBA Network, this prestigious prize recognizes outstanding research by mid-career scientists with rather unusual journeys. So for me, it's quite important because it's an encouragement, and the message behind it that I wanted to be delivered is that if Mootaz could, everyone else can.
I'm sure that's not quite true, but I'll let that stand. What made you pursue a career in neuroscience research? What was the driver for you?
So I graduated from the University of Mosul as a clinical pharmacist, and I was fascinated by the idea of developing a drug. And when I was a patient after a road traffic accident, I saw firsthand the lack of treatment options for people coming into the A&E with traumatic brain injuries and edema, which is the swelling of the brain. So at Sheffield, I joined a team with brilliant people who are all biochemists, and I found myself always being interested to take molecules from the bench to the patient. So I decided I wanted to do something with the research and continued to work on it while I was in Boston. Currently at Oxford, I now focus on the central nervous system disorders, in particular the neurodegeneration, looking into Alzheimer's disease and Parkinson, using cutting-edge technologies such as developing humanized 3D models of a brain on a chip using patient-derived stem cells.
What do you think has been your biggest contribution so far to this incredibly important area of dementia research?
Over the last few years, I've been investigating the regulation of water in the central nervous system. Now, water is essential for the central nervous system as it ensures that the waste products like amyloid and tau are removed from the brain. My work has specifically looked into the water channel protein aquaporin 4, which is the main water channel in the brain, which plays an essential role in regulating that waste products and water in the brain. Now, we have limited understanding of how these tiny water channels works, and previous attempts to target them have failed. So I worked with a team and we discovered how the aquaporin 4 can be targeted using a repurposed licensed drug, which means it's approved by the FDA. Now, this foundational work has enabled me to continue investigating aquaporin 4 and the blood-brain barrier, specifically a drug at phase 2 human clinical trials for traumatic brain injury and stroke has been developed from this research, which I'm quite excited about.
So you lead a team, you have your own lab. Can you just give us a glimpse into what you're going to be working on next?
So dementia is a multifactorial and varied condition, and it's the leading cause for morbidity and mortality, not only in the UK and Europe, but worldwide. Our work aims to answer the question, how do issues in the blood-brain barrier caused by inflammation or neuroinflammation lead to the development of neurodegeneration and dementia? This involves building innovative, dynamic 3D multicellular in vitro models to replicate the blood-brain barrier functions in a more reductionist and controlled approach.
As a prize winner, you must understand there'll be people looking at you and going, I want to be like him, or, that's inspiring, but they've got no idea how to get into neuroscience and so on. What kind of, if you could give one piece of advice to a young person who's interested in a career in neuroscientific research, what would you say to them?
Well, I feel for anyone wanting to go into this world of scientific research in general, I would say make sure that your motivation for doing it are because you are passionate about it. To be honest, it's not always the most financially rewarding job, and many people talk about the cons of this kind of high pressure work, but there are also so many pros. Now, you join a scientific community, and in science, you're always surrounded by people who are motivated, driven, passionate, and smart. So it's such a stimulating environment. I always use the same analogy when say, like, when you're gonna buy a house, you're not just paying for the bricks that is like made this house, but it's actually the community and the neighborhood. And the scientific community is such a stimulating environment to be in. Now, you need to dream big, but always remember the hard work that takes to get there. Our work not always successful. So I always say, enjoy the journey, not just the destination, but more importantly, make sure to make friends along the way.
Professor Mootaz Salman there. Dr. Emma Yhnell is a researcher at Cardiff University. She's on the FENS Communications Committee and is well known for energetically promoting the public engagement of neuroscience and supporting researchers. One of her projects at this forum is a workshop organised by the ALBA network on impostor syndrome. And I began by asking her whether she thinks it is a particular issue for early career researchers.
Yeah, so we know that imposter syndrome impacts all sorts of people, but particularly people who might identify as being in minority groups. So, for example, women or underrepresented ethnic minorities, for example. But we do know that it impacts earlier career researchers particularly. And just being here at the forum, it's amazing, but it's very big, isn't it? It can be quite overwhelming as well. And that's exactly what we're trying to tackle in this workshop by giving practical examples of how to overcome imposter syndrome. So these are feelings that you don't belong, or feelings that you're maybe shouldn't be in the room that you're in. The really important point about this workshop is it's very practical, giving people top tips, and also it's one of those things that is very practical in the sense that often at conferences you'll be listening to a presentation, which is wonderful. This is about really getting involved, contributing to discussions so that you can really come away feeling like you've learned something, you can take something positive away from the workshop.
I have to ask you, do you have any tricks that, I'm not asking for your whole bag of tricks, but do you have any suggestions for somebody who says, okay, give me one thing that I could try?
Yeah, so I think one of the key things I would say is kind of giving things a go and being brave, and that can be really very difficult, and lots of people say, as you progress in your career, it becomes easier. It does to an extent, but actually just discussing the fact that imposter syndrome is a thing can be really helpful. So I've had discussions with very senior professors, for example, who still suffer from imposter syndrome. So the fact that we're raising this at the forum is really important. And in terms of overcoming that, actually accepting that it's a thing is a really key part of that.
In typical Emma Yhnell fashion, I've discovered you're doing at least 3 things here. What are the other things?
Yeah, so lots going on, as there always is at the FENS Forum. So we've got a session on science literacy that's happening on Saturday. So that is all about how we can increase science literacy in lots of different places. So whether that's school children, the general public, making science more accessible and engaging. And I will also be talking to the incredible champions of the International Brain Bee competition, where we'll be focusing on science communication as well, in addition to that imposter syndrome workshop.
Tell us how the Brain Bee works.
Yes, so the International Brain Bee is a brilliant competition. It's a global competition for young people who are in school. And it really is testing them on their neuroscience knowledge. But more than that, it's a program that's designed to inspire and engage young people in neuroscience. So we've got 5 incredible representatives. They really are from all over the world. And they've got the incredible opportunity that they get to experience this forum as very young people and take on all of the sights and sounds that it has for them. So hopefully we can inspire kind of future generations in neuroscience through that.
Emma Yhnell there, ending today's podcast. Join us again for tomorrow's edition, and in the meantime, have a great evening. The FENS Forum podcast was presented by Malcolm Love, music is by Dennis Kischuk, and this was a FENS production by Solid Gold Hat.